Hello everyone, welcome back to Performance Racing League, PRL. I am your host, Hoop BK, and we have some Sunday Tier 1 action on tap for you today from Austria. Simple enough track, means it's really easy to lose time, really hard to gain time. How's it going, Tyler? I see you in here. Round 5 of season 16 for PRL. Been a nice. It's. I feel like it's rare to have a community stick around for this long. I haven't even been around since the beginning. I've been around only the back half of those 16 seasons, but I see that we're thriving. We've got a 19-car grid. I think we might have a 20th hop in. I feel like we were set for a 20th. So nearly a full grid. Have two really competitive Sunday tiers, two really competitive midweek tiers. So still in some great days here at PRL. If you'd love to join us, be a part of our community, we have a link in the Twitch channel description. Be sure to check that out to go to our Discord. And we're going to go on board with Rusty Oil Can while you do that. A lap on board. Uh-oh, we've already lost somebody. Only like, what, 10 corners around Austria, so kind of a flick into turn 1. DRS zone. This counts as turn 2 for some godforsaken reason. And then a very tricky zero traction turn 3 heavy braking zone. We'll see a lot of overtakes, collisions there. No traction on exit into another DRS zone. A downhill braking zone turn 4. You can get a little wide here, keep the momentum up. Five now turn 6. A bit tighter. And turn 7 opens up a little bit more, but easy to run wide. And you see Rusty had to back out of the throttle to keep it within track limits. Run down to turn 9. It's really interesting when cars are trying to enter the pit lane there. You're still pretty much on the racing line. Turn 10. Get out of the curb, send it back to the line. A 105.8, we'll call it for Rusty, is the first lap of the qualifying session. Have a couple more cars. Zabit's going to come across, and now Rut will come through a 104 flat. Joe Bidome, 103.7. We're just going to let everyone come across the line. Be tough to keep up with who is where. I think I see a Haas coming to the line. It's a vote 104.1. So still pretty tight here at the top. Joe Bidome, our championship leader. A couple others coming through. Austria, pretty easy to go over track limits here. See where Mr. Bean is at. It'll be in the 108, so not a very competitive lap time for our defending champ. See a lot of invalidations. Maybe a good segue into our standings. Joe at the top by 13 points over Mr. Bean. Joe's won 2 of 4 races, been on the podium 3 of 4 races. Then it's a bit further back to Kobe Plays in P3. He's 38 points behind the leader. Let's see if we can get on board with somebody. Kobe about to start a lap, actually. Getting underway. We'll go with him. And then into the kind of fray where P4, it's Adrian K. At 73 points, Brian just 1 point behind him. Gore just 1 point behind him. So very tight 4th through 6th. In the constructors, the V-Carb duo of Joe and Rusty out front by nearly 40 points over the McLarens. Still, I don't want to say we're in the early goings. We're firmly in the middle third of the season. So you've wanted to set yourself up for success in the first third. Big snap there from the McLaren going over the curb. But you still have time to right the ship. It's just a little bit tougher now. He'll be back on the throttle. I think this is going to be a pretty solid lap. It'll be in the 103s, 103.8. I was going to say 104s, and he got to the line just a tenth and a half off of Joe. So that he slots into P2. See if Tar Heels is going to find any time here on the final third. It's in the 108s. It'll be in the 106s. Getting closer there. Seeing any improvements. So now most everyone on an in lap. I think Bazurga might be pushing. Brian pushing but has invalidated. Looking at our pace stats, say the top three of this group would be Joe, Mr. Bean, and Kobe. I mean, how the standings would suggest here. But over one lap, that tends to shake out that way. Not this time. Bazurga not finding a clean lap. He's in the 109s. But yeah, these three at the top of the board for now. Rut has shown some good pace in the past. And really the top of our pace stat, I guess he was only in one race, was Linus, Stampy Boss, who I think has a couple of pole positions as well in the last few races going back to last season. Don't think Rut's on much of a push here, yeah. I gotta say, the real MJ, I believe this is their PRL debut. They sit P6 in the Aston Martin. 104.4. Seeing it might kind of segment itself, maybe the top five in a bit of a battle, and then a bit further back. So the upper midfield, Bazurga slotting into P8. Much better lap that time, much more representative. Go to Mr. Sauce here, who is pushing in the Williams. He's in the battle for P4 in the standings, as mentioned earlier. Inside 10 minutes left in the session now. Oh, man. I think he caught a little bit of curb there. It's like he understeered, then oversteered. That'll cost him some time, but at this point just trying to get a lap on the board. See, it's a super high speed. He keeps it within the lines. Maybe we'll keep it in the lines in the final corner just barely, but has to back out quite a bit. It's going to cost him some time, and he'll slot in behind his teammate into P12. Ghost Viper already invalidated. Still very early in the lap for him. That's a pain. Uno Cinco trying to get on the board as well. See if Joe is push. I don't think he's really pushing right now. Yeah, I had 44 seconds at that point. Cinco jumps to 10th with his first clean lap. I think Kobe is pushing. And I just missed the split time. Good job there, Hoop. So we'll watch Kobe over the final two corners. I think that was an early downshift to get the car slowed down, and he's not going to find enough time. Yeah, so I think he ended up having to back out there. Mr. Bean had been improving and then invalidated, so he'll find the pit lane instead. Evote starting a lap. Last time our Sunday tiers were here, last season, is actually reverse Austria. That made for some fun. If I remember correctly, it was a nice battle between Furzy and Mr. Bean. Furzy getting the best of Beanie. That had been a long time coming. Oh, wow. V-Car having to dodge out of the way of the car of the Haas on the hot lap. Saw gravel flying in the direction of a vote. Still up half a tenth. Can he find a little more and jump? No, he loses time in the final sector. Kak pointing out that he is beating his teammate so far, and that is true. Adrian K jumps to P6. It's a little closer to the top 5, kind of splits 5th and 7th, but yep, Kak by 0.02 of a second over his, 5-time champion, Gord Sauce. Gold Killer backing out here. Rhett not really pushing yet. What about Joe? He's down by quite a bit through one sector. Anyone really pushing right now, finding time? Zabit starting a lap. How about Brian B? Up a tenth through one sector, which is approximately one corner. The first sector time, basically a judgment of how well can you take one corner. Turn 2 is not a real... I refuse to acknowledge turn 2. It goes from turn 1 to turn 3. Rut, pretty even through one sector. What about the second sector? Fall back a little bit. Go back to Brian. He's a tenth and a half away from P7. Can he pick up that much? Hit that much and much more. P4 for Brian. 104 flat. He actually jumps Rut. Unless he had a really good sector, yeah, did not find any time as we head towards the 5-minute mark until the checkered flag. Someone just jumped up. I think it was Ghost Viper? Ghost Viper, Brian's teammate, to P9. So all 19 drivers have put down lap times, unaffected by track limits. Gord Sauce, here we go, finding a lot more time through two sectors this time. We'll call that 3/4 of a second. That could launch him into the top 10. We had a little bit of issue on the final corner the first time as well. Can he get nearly a second? Yes, to P7. So I think a much more representative time for Gord Sauce. Sorry, Kak. I knew that wasn't really going to last. He has set the bar for you. Yeah, Beanie not really pushing. Rut, I think, is about to come in. How about Uno Cinco? He's coming to the line. 104.8 finds a quarter of a second. That'll move the Haas to P12. Actually tied with Balzerga. If you set it first, you get the benefit of the tiebreaker. Some of the surprises, I'd say Gold Killer. He's about to start another lap, but has shown a lot of one-lap pace in our midweek tiers. Maybe a little surprised he's sitting at P13. Let's see if he can find more time. Kak Supreme finds time in, wow, 1,000th of a second, puts him at P11, and that's just over Balzerga and Uno Cinco. So 1,000 slower, he'd be P13 because of the tiebreaker. Trying to remember what pole lap was for Tier 2 earlier today. A race that Ghost Viper won. Ghost Viper sitting P10 in this session. Bingo Jimbo had a 104.322, which as of now would be P9. And that was the pole lap in Tier 2. Ghost Viper had a 104. We'll call that 4. So we know that there's a couple of tenths left in the tank for the Alpine driver, who's, I believe, in control of the Tier 2 standings right now. I'm not sure they were updated. Gold Killer found a little bit of time, but is still P14. So we're closing up on 2 minutes left in the session. Let's see if I can get my timing sheet up. Here we go. So pretty tight at the top. I don't even know if I called out Mr. Bean finding time and jumping Kobe to P2. He's within half a tenth of Joe Biden. Bit of a scrap up here between the top 3, as always. Bean has had 3 pole positions this season already. The other one has gone to Joe Biden. And really, Bean has been on pole. Well, it's been Bean or Joe on pole every time since... Oh, man. For a while. Beanie about to start a lap. So I'm trying to scroll through to see the last time someone... Oh, yeah, Linus. Round 7 of last season. It's been mostly Mr. Bean with a little bit of Joe thrown in there for our Sunday Tier 1 pole position winners. I think Kobe might be the closest competitor for the 2, but... See, Joe at the Sector 1 line, just a little bit down, but enough left in the lap to find some time. Beanie is headed towards the Sector 2 split line. And he's found over a quarter of a second. That'll definitely put him into provisional pole. If he can keep this up, can he find any more? And to really put it out of reach here in Sector 3. Watch the rears kind of step out. Keeps it in 7th gear through the penultimate corner. Final corner back on the throttle. Comes across the line, a 103.5. What about Joe? He has found time, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And he's invalidated at the final corner. It wouldn't have been enough. The checkered flag is out. It's not going to be Joe. It's going to be Bean. Is Kobe going to find any time? So you have a couple of drivers hopping up the board. I believe Gord Sausage just... No. Somebody had moved up. Brian? There'd have been some movement in like the top 8 or so. And we're going to get Furzy at the last second. Brian finds a little bit of time, does not improve his position. Kobe Plays is finding nearly half a second. That's gonna play. This will play. Can the McLaren hold on to it? Keep it between the lines. He's headed down towards the start-finish line, and Kobe Plays has put it on pole. 103.325. Is anyone gonna have a response to that? Rutt has found a little bit of time, but is invalidated. What about a vote? He's not on pace. Gordsauce backing out. So Kobe Plays is going to break the streak. Of Mr. Bean and Joe poles and take this one for McLaren. Said it was going to be between these 3, and it definitely was. Came down to the final laps, and for Joe Biden, it came down to the final corner. Just could not quite hold on to it. So we're going to wait for all the cars to finish circulating. So your starting grid for today's race will be Kobe Plays on pole next to Mr. Bean. Joe Bidome and Brian B. on row 2. Rutt and Evote. P5 and P6. Gord, Adri, the real MJ will start P9 on his debut next to Zabit to round out the top 10. Then we have Ghost Viper, Kak, Balzurga, Uno Cinco, and Gold Killer to 15th. Then Nico John, Frosty, Rusty, Tar Heels, and Furzy will start P20, I believe. Hopefully the game will let him in properly. Saw that he had joined the session and was able to select a car. Maybe a little concerning that they didn't show him on the timing page at least. Yeah, maybe a weird cutoff, but I guess this is since the beginning of last season, so 19 races in our Sunday Tier 1. 11 poles for Mr. Bean, 3 for Joe, 3 for Linus, 1 for Ramsey, and now 1 for Kobe Plays. This has been mostly one-sided. It's been like a 50% chance Mr. Bean has put it on pole. Kobe is not unfamiliar with being on pole, though. He has been on the midweek 1 pole quite a few times. Even most recently in the wet at Mexico last week. As we get ready for the race session, I imagine we're going to see a lot of mediums and hards. There you go. It is going to let Furzy in, thankfully. 36-lap race. Pretty quick lap. I mean, the qualifying is in the 103s. I imagine race laps will be in like the 105s at most. Fastest lap in the 105s, 104s. Fastest lap at Tier 2 during the race was a 106.2. So, do you think any safety cars? I haven't been able to watch too much of Tier 1, so I don't know how clean it's been safety car-wise recently. There wasn't in any Tier 2. Well, like, Turn 1 and Turn 3 here can certainly cause some issues early. Oh, Furzy stuck on a default setup. That's fun. Because of Park Ferme. That'll best of luck to you, Furzy. That is going to be a real pain. Yeah, I thought about it, Kak. Ultimately, I didn't want to spend 4 hours doing this. I didn't want to race and then immediately hop into comms. It's a beautiful day outside here in the southern United States. So I got out for a little bit, went out and played some putt-putt with the wife. Cost way too much money for what we were getting, but had a fantastic time. I think eventually I do want to try to get into a Tier 2 race because it has been a long time since I've raced in PRL. I think I had a one-off in a Sunday, 2 or 3. It hasn't been this game. I don't think I've raced in F125 for PRL. It's kind of wild to think about how long it's been since I've raced, but I'm really enjoying the comms side. It's fun to be able to bring this to y'all. Comms is always something I've been interested in, so this is a great outlet for me as the formation lap is about to get underway. Full 20-car grid with the addition of Furzy with the terrible default setup. Let's hop over to see tires. Mostly medium tires, but Rutt and P5 on the hards. Gord and Adri 7th and 8th. And Tar Heels in 19th, all on the white wall hards. Other than that, we got the mediums. We'll go to position change, just how I like it, for the first few laps of the race to see who gets the best start. Looks like Rusty also mentioned that he did not get his setup in, which is pretty rough. 36 laps feels like a long time around here, and I think we've had a 100% race here in midweek. It's had to be a half dozen seasons ago now, but 72-lap race at Austria. Really good time. I think I got a podium that race, actually. At least there's just not a lot of turns here, so... Only 360 turns. That's being generous because one of them doesn't count, as we've established. So wait for the ceremonial disqualifications of various drivers pulling up to the grid. Gold Killer's gonna have to pull through some cars, I think, to get to his grid box. And we see the green flags waving. Let's get ready for the light sequence, which is on. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we are underway from Austria. Here's some wheel spin getting off the line. Kobe to the high side. It might be open for... He's kind of ghosting. He's got to keep it tidy through turn 1. What about the rest of the field? We see the Haas of the vote getting to the high side of the Ferraris. We head down through turn 2, quote-unquote. They're going to be side-by-side. Into 3, and the leaders are going to be side-by-side as well. Kobe went defensive, held off Mr. Bean. We're going to head down to turn 4. Bean to the high side once more. Kobe to the inside, leaving just enough room. Forced him to take a little bit more curve than he wanted on exit. Furzy up 5 spots, 4 spots already. Ripping through the rear of the field. Car can get a little understeery through, I believe, turn 6. So Kobe holding on to the lead now. But Joe making it difficult for him over the first lap. And he gets to the inside and will take the lead as we head into turn 9. So Mr. B makes the move. Much better run out of the slower middle sector. And does end up with the lead. Kobe's going to fall another spot as Joe gets to the bottom. Our pole sitter down to P3 as we hit turn 1 for just the second time. DRS enabled this lap. DRS will come will factor into this race heavily. 3 DRS zones back to back to back. We got Balzerga making his way up through the field. He's up 5 spots to P8. So I'll slip through a couple of drivers into into turn 3, excuse me. MJ holding 9th. I guess that's been mostly at the expense of Adri and Ghost Viper and CAC Supreme. We're all down multiple spots. Zabit and MJ going side by side. You can go side by side through the middle sector, but it's a little tricky as the car likes to understeer. Tight corners there. Go on board with the rookie, the PRL rookie, who gets a rough entry into 9. So did Zabit ahead of him as he went well off the track. Joe coming up on Mr. Bean will get to the inside as we head towards turn 1, and Joe Bidom, our championship leader, takes the lead of the race. We've got a yellow. Uno Cinco is having an issue in getting turned back around on the front straightaway. We're going to have 3 cars close proximity into turn 3. As Bean gets by, Kobe plays. Maybe a little bit of DRS chicken happening. All tucked in. Can Bean get to the high side of Joe? He will. Might run a little bit wide, but he keeps the momentum up much better than his rival in the V-Carb. And Mr. Bean back out front. So 3 leaders within 3 different laps. or within the first 2.5 laps, really. Each of these three have taken a turn in front of the field. Brian is not way too far out of this either. He could be feeling out an opportunity to get into the fray. The top 7 all within a second of the car in front. It's Balzerga P8 is where it starts to come a little bit more stretched out. Another car around. I think that's Gold Killer having an issue out of the final corner. Ferrari will get going. As Joe gets to the high side, makes the pass with DRS on Mr. Bean. We'll see a lot of these back and forth. Bean, a much better run through turn 3. Not going to keep the momentum, though. Almost got alongside. They're going to pull away from Kobe. Might leave him a little bit more susceptible to Brian, who we're on board with. That's the top 7. Gordsauce, the final car of the group, and Zabit has made his way past Bazurga into P8, so he will now head this train that the midfield is right now. The back of that train is Furzy. Started P20, does not have a custom setup on. Up 7 spots. Zabit is the lucky winner of the first penalty of the day. Takes a look, but will stay behind Ghost Viper. CAC Supreme, P14. He's got Nico John. They will continue to dance. And it's a little bit more spread out as we go through the back of the field. Some pit stops already happening. For Uno Cinco, I think it was repairing some damage. And Gold Killer, probably the same. Mr. Bean to the inside this time into turn 4. Really close wheel to wheel. These two have a lot of experience with each other, which is always nice. You're able to do some wheel-to-wheel battling, and you're familiar with the other driver. You know their moves. You can trust them. Trust is definitely needed when going in such close proximity with the other drivers. Another car around. I think it's Tar Heels. The longer you've raced in a league, the longer you've raced alongside someone, the more comfortable you get with them. The more willing you are to go wheel to wheel. Adrian's found himself at the front of this train. He's 3.5 seconds back of Gordsauce, who sits P7. Back to the front. Mr. Bean, another turn. Joe would slip by, and he takes it right back. Thing is, with everyone having DRS, except for the leader, these 3 times Joe gets right back around. I'll just play some tag. It's harder for anyone else within this group to make a move, because everyone has DRS. So Brian has been really close to Kobe. He hasn't been able to even attempt a move. Evote P5, Rut P6, all have been in close proximity. Gold Killer is going to call it from the pit lane. That is our first DNF of the session. Had already made a pit stop. I think his car is about to get sent back on track, unfortunately. Lap 7, so our 7th attempt into turn 3, and Joe covers the high side this time. He knows that Beanie has liked to use the outside curbing to make a move into the braking zones. Bean has showed that off multiple times. He takes the inside line. It's made available to him once again and says, why not? I'll take it. So Beanie back into the lead. I think we had another issue. I think it was the Sauber. Could have been Frosty. When he's got going again. Rusty is coming out of the pit lane. I don't know if these are scheduled stops per se. I feel like someone was taking the line. Yep, so multiple cars here. Entering the pit lane. Brian in a vote. After 7 laps are ditching... What tires are they even on? Okay, they are both on the mediums. So I was like, hopefully they're on the mediums. Did we lose Furzy? He's ghosted. I'm going to have to try again in a second as Joe and Mr. Bean. Yep. Let me see if I get you back in. I think I have you, Furzy. Let me make sure nothing crazy happens here for the lead. Joe and Mr. Bean continuing to go at it. And Kobe right there. The top three now a bit further away as fourth and fifth had entered the pit lane. Still side by side, Joe on the inside line, Mr. Bean. I think the high side is the preferred line when side by side through turns 6 and 7. Let me see if I have you. I'm not entirely sure I do. Oh, I do. There we go. I sent you an EA invite. We'll get you back in here, Furzy. You have been on a charge through the field. I think it's already cost you a couple spots, but you've already gained a bunch of spots once. Why not again? Just let me know if you need another one if it doesn't work for some reason. Ghost Viper into the pit lane. So a lot of the medium starters deciding after 7 or 8 laps to change tires. Mr. Bean on the high side, Joe to the inside, and Kobe just behind still. I think this is bringing Rut closer and closer to this group. Goodness. In formation as we head down to turn 4. You heard Joe lock it up, and he keeps it out of his rival's side pod. We'll have the high side. Beat might be able to send it in a little deeper, but Joe will keep up more momentum on the high side. Mr. Bean gets a better line. A big snap as he goes over the curb. But he returns to the lead. Looks like Joe's going to go to the pit lane. He's showing to the inside, and he does follow that inside line all the way into the pit lane. So we're just trying to undercut this group to get out a bit further ahead. I think this means 2 stop at this rate. I'm going to say lap 14 is when we'll start to open for 1 stops if you're starting on the medium tire. Brian, who's on fresh hards, sets the fastest lap of the race into the 106s. Where is he going to come out? He's going to come out ahead of Joe. Same with the vote. So they undercut Joe by like 2 seconds. They sit 8th and 9th, the best of those who have pit. Meanwhile, Rut and Gordsauce have kind of tracked down Kobe and Mr. Bean. This battle at the front, they've been, well, they were a second plus faster last time. Don't know if that's because of the battling or because of the tires. Kobe to the pit lane. Mr. Bean as well. So 1 lap later than the rival in Joe. They come to the pit lane, a tap for behind. I don't think anyone's getting a penalty for too fast entering at least. That gives Rut. That's it for you. Let me do one more for you. Let me do one more for you. So that means Brian, Avote, and Joe are going to undercut Mr. Bean and Kobe. They're going to come out, get just behind the V-Carb, ahead of Ghost Viper at least, but they come out 8th and 9th. That's P4, P5. For drivers that are running 2nd and 3rd, 1st and 2nd, 1st and 3rd before the pit stops. So the undercut working out for Brian and Evote, and Joe going in earlier than his rivals. He's to the inside of Evote. He makes the move successfully into turn 4. Trying to put some distance between him and Bean and Kobe. Gord and Rut still out. I'm going to say 1 stop if you're starting on the hards. Probably lap 20, 22. But for the 2 stop, it could be lap 16. They're running in about 109 flat, including the real MJ. who is staying out. He's taking the mediums a bit longer, maybe trying for that one-stop strategy. All in the 109s, but then you get to this group, Mr. Bean getting by a vote, leaving Kobe behind for the time being. They're all in the 107s, those fresh tires. Except for those that have just come in and haven't turned in a full lap yet. Now Kobe gets by a vote to follow Beanie through. Being a second behind Joe now. Furzy, your Ghost just put on new mediums. Hopefully that's what you were aiming for. And Rut and Gord, 12 laps on the hards. Maybe hard, medium, hard? The move for these two. Coming in after 12 laps. Some fastest laps being turned in. Yep, they go to the mediums. And they'll fall down the order a bit because they've stayed out longer. But they are on the better compound compared to, like, literally the rest of the field. Joe trying to get by Brian, and he does with DRS. Continues his charge back through the field. Really close behind Brian and Bean, though. Bean to the inside of Brian into turn 4. Don't get a great view. Leaves just enough room on the outside, so he'll follow. That leaves Kobe a car behind. It'll be his turn next. These three have been duking it out. The first stint of this race. Is he going to try to make the move? Yeah, he will. Into the penultimate corner. That's just better tires. More pace. Adri had inherited the lead. Goes one more lap on his hard tires, but we'll ditch him now. That leaves the real MJ up front in his PRL debut. Taking the mediums a long way. So maybe like lap 16? I think you're within that one-stop window. I think at this rate, you might as well take him that far. Beating to the inside of Joe. I think this is for the net lead in the race. Still side by side. And Mr. Bean gets clear. We'll take P2 on track. Kak and Balzerga have been going at it. And Nico John in the mix as well. Here, let's get down to this battle. Maybe not much of a battle now. Maybe the Sauber had gone off. Had a bit of an issue. The real MJ into the pit lane after 14 laps. So he will not take it to that lap 16 window. You could probably do 22 laps on the hards. That would be okay if you wanted to do that. He does put the hards on. Where will he come out? I think it'll be P10, P11. Will he beat this trio to the line? We're kind of watching the track map and the action at the same time. Yes, we'll come out P11. Bean and Joe still going at it. I think I'll say that for the entirety, the entire remainder of the race, excuse me. But still, yeah, now it's this top 5. But Rut and Gordsauce pulling back closer. They were in the 106s. 106.8 for pretty much for both of them last time around. Compared to the 107s for those in front. Joe's going to get passed by Kobe now. So Joe undercutting by a lap. Had to navigate through traffic in front of these two. And they have finally caught him, and with some DRS help have overtaken him. But DRS tends to help those not at the front. So Kobe and Joe going after Bean. Joe to the high side. Late braking to get to the high side of the McLaren. Maybe a little snap through the center of the corner. So he had it and then lost it. We'll stay P3 then. Kobe dives to the inside of Mr. Bean, leaves enough room Front tires get to the wheel tires, the rear tires. Now he goes defensive, but Joe able to push his way through, keeps some momentum through turn 6, and get back to P2. Evoke just kind of watching this from not very far away. Same with Brian. I just realized I was muted for the entirety of like the previous lap. That's unfortunate. I was doing great calls for this battle for the lead, and I looked over and the light on my microphone was red. So I was gonna say Mr. Bean maybe not leaving enough room on the exit of 3, pushes Joe wide. That leaves Kobe to get to the inside, fight past, but Bean returns the favors. We head down towards the penultimate corner, getting towards the exact halfway point of this race. That's what I get for muting my mic to take a sip of water. I should just let you guys hear all the guzzling sounds. I don't have to remember to unmute it. Kobe holding on to it then. Getting to the high side, and Mr. Bean dives to the high side. Preferred load line, maybe a bit of contact on turn-in. I'd say generally still, I think it's just hard racing, nothing unsporting here. So be keeping the momentum through this slower middle section. Turn 6 and 7. Rut has been able to claw back to this group. Gourd Sauce maybe just a little bit further back, now 2 seconds. It wasn't the last lap, maybe been the lap before. They have misstepped. I think he was pretty much with Rut up until then. Chilling by himself for P7. Don't know if it's going to bring Adri into the fight for P7. Oh, car around. Frosty, perhaps, having issues in the middle sector. Goodness. That's Brian and a vote side by side. And Rut getting involved in this as well. So a bit of a mad scramble for P4 as we get some passes for the lead as well. Trying to keep straight who had started where for this battle. But now Rut with the better tires on the mediums, trying to make his way around the outside through the middle sector. Falls back in line, maybe trying to get a bit of an advantage towards turn 9. Wonder if it was pretty much a vote kind of doing a dive on Brian and Rhett following him through. Now trying to do the same to the Haas of a vote. Does bring Gordsauce a bit closer to this battle for P4. Watching Joe, or on board with Joe, as Bean puts the defense to the high side of Kobe. The vote holding the middle, now the high side. So just going to try to outbrake him. The Ferrari getting his way alongside. Is he able to keep the momentum, get traction out? He does. Stick it to the high side. So Rut will move into P4. Two separate battles, but two great battles in the top 6 for various spots. And Joe, 12 laps on the hard tires. Gonna put on probably another set of hards to get to the end. Brian, 1 lap older tires will also come in. Probably another set of hards as well. So I guess a new window has opened here. Maybe they're trying to coax some of their competitors into moves as well. Little lockup from Rut. The vote on the back of the Ferrari. Not the first lockup we've seen from Kobe, or really anyone today, into turn 4. Able to keep it out of the back of the Red Bull, though. So a little bit of lap traffic for our leaders to pick through. Kobe plays into the pit lane, so he will blink first between him and Bean. Trying to undercut now and defend from the undercut by Joe and Brian. So let's see where they come out. The Haas is going to get held up just a little bit in the pit lane. Joe will come out ahead of Kobe. Not by too much. Kobe comes out ahead of Brian. And luckily for Brian, ahead of Rut, Gord Sauce, and a vote really losing out there. Gets jumped by Gord. So the Haas will have to fight his way back through this group. Top 3 stayed out. I think MJ has a bit longer to go on these hards because he's racing with his teammate, the ghost of Furzy. Mr. Bean, our leader, to the pit lane. Where will he come out? He was in a close battle with Kobe. Kobe got out into clean air. Oh, Gordsauce hit with a penalty. That'll put Adrian K back in the lead. He's on the now aging medium tire. Yep, here's going to go Joe and Kobe. So the undercut works once more for Joe. And it works for Kobe as well. He gets out ahead of Bean. Bean does stay ahead of Brian and Rut. Gord going defensive. A vote goes to the outside. Oh, we actually had a battle for the lead there. A pass as NJ to the inside of Adrian K. And will take the lead. We have a car around. Who is that? Oh, was that a vote? I think it might have been a vote. Yeah, he was just behind Gordsauce, so maybe some contact. Or maybe just a lack of traction, but he's lost 2 spots and, I don't know, about 8 or 9 seconds. So got jumped during the pit cycle, and a spin has dropped him a couple more spots to P11. Adrian K to the pit lane. That'll promote everyone who has already come into the pits. Learn my lesson. You guys are going to have to listen to me drink water. I'm sorry. ASMR sounds with Hoop BK. Mr. Bean, we saw the dive just behind Joe. Gets to the inside of Kobe and takes P2. Sorry, P3. It will be P2 at some point. Late braking there. Brave move. But a successful move for the Red Bull driver. Trying to chase down Joe. Trying to chase down Joe in the race and in the standings. Just trying to make up any amount of points on our championship leader. And Bean really just trying to crawl out of a hole that came from a P13 in round 1 at Baku. Has set it behind the 8 ball, so just trying to stay in touch with the championship lead. He is just a quarter of a second behind Joe. Gets to the inside. Seen these two go at it quite a bit today. Yep, and he'll make the move successfully to take P2 on track. Kobe still intact with this trio. Rutt and Brian going at it. Well, this might be fun. We're going to have Bazurga come out next to Kak. This is P13 on track. Fresh mediums, though, staying ahead of the Williams. Through turn 3, and he might be able to... He just had to stay ahead of him. And now he might be able to run away a bit, even with DRS, to his competitor. I think those fresh tires are just going to be too much. He'll try to run away with it. B got into some clean air and puts down the fastest lap. It's a 106 flat of the. That's the fastest lap of the race. Our leader, though, is the real MJ. Still has yet to make a second stop. Was 2 seconds slower, as we actually have some movement back here. It was 2 seconds slower than Mr. Bean last lap. Much older tires. Joe to the inside, a big lockup from Kobe, as is tradition. But Mr. Bean staying around the outside, keeping the momentum. It's going to be the inside line now, and he'll tuck in behind Joe. Nearly side by side, almost got some overlap. Joe was just a 10th faster than MJ that lap, so the battling may slow their progress down a little bit to get back to the leader. Fastest driver not named Bazurga, who was on the fresh medium last lap, was... Make sure I get this right. Was Brian, 107.2. So Brian and Rutt still going at it and still making up some time on this quote-unquote lead group. Focusing on them because we think this will become the battle for the win. But MJ could really try to stretch this. 8 more laps on the hards. I think it would be bold. If they found about 6/10 compared to MJ last lap. I think, for the most part, everyone's willing to tuck into line and see if we can just make up some time here. At least between those three. Brian not quite getting close enough to Rutt. And Vogt, we saw, just picked up a time penalty. This race is kind of unraveled for him in the second and third stints. He was fighting for top 5. Adrian K has found himself in the lead a couple of times today due to differing strategies. He's on fresh mediums, so he's trying to track down Gord Sauce and Ghost Viper, who actually have penalties. So P7 certainly on the table for the Mercedes man, who sits P4 in the standings. He's battling Gord for P4 and Brian, so that battle should remain close. Joe now within 3 seconds of MJ, who's a full second faster. Yeah, I think for the most part they're willing to play nice. Mr. Bean has a lot of momentum, though. We'll get to the inside and take P2. It's going to be a little crossover up and under. Joe getting alongside. We'll have DRS and get back around. Go to Kobe's view. Kobe's view of side-by-side racing. A big snap trying to get back on the power. Rutt and Brian had changed spots as well. I think it changed back. So still a couple of battles here in the top 6. And Ghost Viper and Gord Sauce still intact with each other. I'm not sure there's been any moves yet. Kobe to the inside at the penultimate corner. Joe may have gone off the track a little bit. That's how it happens. You lead the group for a bit. Everyone behind you gets DRS, makes their way by, start it all over again. Just enough room is left. Has to be aware of Mr. Bean braking in front. Maybe a little tap side to side. Kobe will keep the spot for now. Same with Rutt keeping P5, and same for Ghost Viper keeping P8. What about Balzerga, who has tracked down Nico John? It's been a half-second faster a lap, the last few laps or so. Is he going to be close enough? Trying to get a couple different battles around the field. We're at 6 laps to go. Won't be close enough into turn 3, maybe turn 5, or turn 4? I don't... I'm telling you, turn 4, okay. Some of these little straightaways bends are considered turns, and some of them aren't. Close enough this time. Ooh, the door is left open for him. A little bit of a tap side to side as he kind of understeered into Nico John, but he will take the position. Balzerga makes his way past. Mr. Bean has brought it down to within a second of MJ, but Kobe's going to get around him. Saw Mr. Bean and I take a very wide line through turn 3. As this scrap for... I mean, at this rate, MJ is staying out, so they do have to catch the Aston Martin driver. They have, over the last handful of laps, another second sliced off of the lead. Could be within distance, a little bit of a tap. Into the back of Kobe he goes. So I had been assuming, but they still have to get by MJ. Coming to 4 laps to go. Not quite within DRS. But we could have a real battle for the win on our hands. One that we thought we had been watching the entirety of this race. The heat has been turned up with 4 laps to go. A second and a half separates MJ and Kobe, and nothing separates Kobe and Mr. Bean as Bean gets to the inside. Will Joe get to the inside as well? It's a 2-fer. Kobe's going to lose 2 spots, keeps the momentum on the outside, and gets one of them back. Does have DRS to help him. And we're just scrapping a little bit more. The final stages of this race. I think Bean at this point trying to just get within DRS. I think they know if they can just get within DRS of MJ, the better tires and the sheer pace advantage, they can get by him, and they have got within DRS. It's just a half second now. MJ, our leader, PRL debut, has held onto the lead for all of this last stint, trying to one-stop zag while everyone else zigs. 3 laps to go, but he has a swarm of excellent drivers, some of the finest that PRL has to offer in his mirrors. Going super defensive to the inside, so head through the kink. Bean to the inside. Kobe to the outside. It's almost like pack racing here. Who's going to have momentum? Kobe is stuck behind MJ. Now he has to pick the winning horse as Bean will get to the inside into turn 4 and take the lead. Kobe will also make his way by MJ, and Joe has not been able to do so. Dives to the inside as we head into turn 6. Joe makes his way past, so they have been catching, and they have dispatched MJ, who's going to just try to hold on to a P4 at this rate. It's 5 seconds back to Brian and P5. But the battle for the win is still on. So we head towards the penultimate lap. Mr. Bean leads Kobe and Joe, but if we have learned anything over the past 34 laps, the lead can change 8 times between now and the checkered flag. And MJ still intact for a possible podium. I think we had a car around. I think Balzerga had an issue. He had been making his way back through the field. Kobe to the inside. Pretty defensive line, but still will get to the inside as we head towards turn number 4. Hear the locking, the tires squealing. Can he get back on the throttle? They are still side by side, wheel to wheel, heading towards turn 6. Joe on the inside. Kobe has to back out a little bit and cede the position to Mr. Bean. I think I said Joe, but that's Mr. Bean in the Red Bull. He'll get by some lap traffic here. I believe that's Rusty in the V-Carb. Head towards turn 10 and to the start-finish line for the final time today. Lap 36 of 36, and still a 3-car battle for the win. Joe maybe just a little bit further back. And he picks up a time penalty. Joe cuts the corner. It's going to cost him a podium. Kobe still within 4/10 as we head towards turn 3. How late of a move does he dare make? Locks the car, and I think it's going to cost him some time out of turn number 3. Really squealing, trying to get back on the throttle. This is going to be the last DRS zone before the line. Is he going to get close enough? Another lock. Trying to keep the car under control. I just don't think he's going to be close enough. Evoke makes a move for P10. He and Zabit are going at it. Love a good rhyme there. Everyone has penalties in that group, so that could be a battle for P10. Kobe, I think, really pushing, but really fighting the car now in the late stages of this stint. Just will not have enough. So Mr. Bean does not get pole, but wins this game of tag around Austria ahead of Kobe and MJ. Going with a different strategy with the one stop, it's going to give him a podium position in his PRL debut. Oh, Zabit and Vote have been going at it, but a Vote, I guess something must have happened there. He is back to P13. Let's see how the penalties shake out with this group at P10. Yep, so Nico John in the Mercedes is going to be given P10. Zabit demoted to 11th with the penalties. It is Austria, which is notorious for track limit penalties. I think Uno Cinco, yep, has found the gravel. A Vote sent down to P14. Oh, yep, I see some damage to the front of that Haas. So a rough day for the Haas duo. Similarly rough day for the Sauber duo. And yeah, a lot of damage to Balzerga. So could have gotten a little... We caught a little bit of action here in the midfield. But we obviously missed something. So familiar sight. Mr. Bean back on the top step for the 4th time in 5 races this season on Sundays. He's joined by Kobe Plays and the real MJ in his PRL debut. So Mr. Bean, race winner and fastest lap. MJ, driver of the day. I can see that. A vote gets most overtakes. That makes sense. And Uno Cinco named cleanest driver by the game. Mr. Bean, 106.0 fastest lap is your winner. Kobe Plays from pole, finishes second. The real MJ, P3. Joe Biden penalties drop him to P4. Rutt is 5th. Brian 6th. They went at it for the entirety of the last half of the race. Gord Sauce is 7th. Ghost Viper 8th. Adri K gets 9th. And Nico John, P16 on the grid, finishes 10th. Zabit 11th. Cac Supreme 12th. Bazurga 13th. A vote. Rough for him 14th. Then it's Frosty, Uno Cinco, Rusty, Tar Heels, Furzy, and Gold Killer. That's the ghost of Furzy. And I don't think I'm going to get race director. Go! Go! Yeah, did get the entirety of it. So another round in the books for Performance Racing League Sunday Tier 1. Should have some more action for you on Wednesday when midweek goes to, let me see if I can remember. Midweek is at Montreal. Don't know if I'm going to be covering, I can't remember who I'd covered last week. So either midweek tier 1 or midweek tier 2 this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then next Sunday, our Sunday tiers will be at Brazil. So make sure to tune in for those. Might be the fridge again next week for tier 1. As always, I have been Hoop BK. This has been PRL, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.